How much money are we talking about then, Gavan?
The underspend at the end of November, Colette, amounted to around €700 million. The government had expected to have spent around €2.2 billion on capital spending inside the Department of Housing, and had only managed to spend around €1.5 billion. Now, it must be said that this is not necessarily the job of the Department of Housing itself. A lot of that money is earmarked for spending by local authorities, that it will be up to local authorities, county and city councils around the country to indulge in the actual spending in the delivery of new homes on the ground in those areas. So if the government hasn't been able to spend all of that money, it may be because of hold-ups in those local authorities. We're speaking today to the Sinn Féin spokesperson on housing, Eoin O'Brien, who says that it is largely down to local authorities being unable to spend the money because, he says, of red tape implemented on them by Customs House.
It is the chronic level of bureaucracy that the Department of Housing and the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform impose on our local authorities and approved housing bodies. That is something Dara can control, and if he would take the advice that we have been giving him for 3 years and amend the bureaucracy, we would be able to get that money spent much more quickly and deliver the homes that people need.
Now, the Department of Housing and the Minister for Housing, Darragh O'Brien, have consistently said that they do believe that the state will effectively catch up on its own budget by the end of the year, that the amount of money earmarked for spending, around €2.6 billion, would ultimately be spent one way or another. If they weren't able to build new homes, for example, they would simply go into the market and buy more to make up for that lost time. But it has to be said that with the year beginning to close out now, with a relatively shorted number of properties actually on the market, it would seem increasingly more difficult for the state to do that. There was a revised budget for the Department of Housing put through the Dáil only a couple of weeks ago. Some of that capital underspent has been redirected to other areas, but opposition parties still do believe that come the end of the year there will still be about €500 million of money which was intended to be used for housing construction unspent, and they'd like to know exactly what the government intends to do about it.
All right, Gavan, thanks very much for all of that.